My name is Claire Morgan. I was 39 years old when I unlocked my late husband's mountain cabin, expecting nothing more than silence, dust, and memories. Instead, I found another family living inside. For a few terrifying moments, I believed my husband had lived a secret life behind my back. I thought everything I knew about our 16-year marriage had been a lie. I couldn't have been more wrong. My husband, Ethan Morgan, passed away unexpectedly only a few weeks earlier. Losing him felt like losing the ground beneath my feet. For almost a month, I couldn't even bring myself to go through his belongings. But there was one place I knew I eventually had to visit. A small mountain cabin Ethan had owned long before we met. Whenever life became stressful, he would disappear there for a weekend. Whenever I asked why he loved that place so much, he would smile and simply say, "It's where I go to think." I never questioned him, because I trusted him completely. One Saturday morning, I finally drove there alone. The cabin looked exactly as I remembered. The wooden porch, the old swing, the flower boxes beneath the windows. Everything looked peaceful. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. Immediately, something felt wrong. The house wasn't empty. Fresh coffee filled the air. Children's shoes were lined neatly beside the entrance. There were toys scattered across the living room. A backpack rested near the staircase. Fresh fruit sat on the kitchen table. Someone was clearly living there. I slowly walked farther inside. Then I noticed something that made my heart race. Photographs. Dozens of them. But none included Ethan. Or me. Instead, they showed women. Children. Families I had never seen before. A terrible thought instantly entered my mind. Had Ethan secretly built another family? Every weekend he'd spent here. Every excuse. Every business trip. Had I believed a lie for 16 years? Before I could think any further, I heard footsteps upstairs. A young woman slowly came down the staircase holding the hand of a little girl. She froze the moment she saw me. So did I. Seconds later, two more women appeared. Behind them stood several frightened children. None of them looked angry. None looked dangerous. They looked afraid. Like people expecting the worst. I finally spoke. "Who are you? This cabin belongs to my husband. What are you doing here?" No one answered. The little girl hid behind one of the women. My confusion quickly became anger. I pulled my phone from my purse. "I'm calling the police." Before I could dial, the front door suddenly opened. An elderly man hurried inside. "Please. Don't." His name was Samuel Carter. He had worked for Ethan for many years. He raised both hands. "Mrs. Morgan, I know how this looks. But please, give me 5 minutes before you make that call." I wanted everyone out of the house. But something in his voice stopped me. He wasn't protecting himself. He was protecting the women standing behind me. Samuel slowly looked toward them. Then back at me. "They're not trespassing. They're survivors." I frowned. "What does that mean?" He took a deep breath. "This cabin isn't what you think it is. For more than 10 years. Your husband secretly turned this place into a safe shelter for women and children escaping abusive homes." I stared at him in complete disbelief. "No. That's impossible. Ethan would have told me." Samuel quietly shook his head. He wanted to. But the fewer people who knew this address, the safer these families remained. Nothing made sense anymore. I felt as though my entire world had been turned upside down. Then Samuel said something I'll never forget. "Your husband left something for you." He led me into Ethan's private office. A room he had always kept locked. Samuel reached beneath the old wooden desk and carefully pulled out a small cedar box. Across the lid, written in Ethan's unmistakable handwriting, were 3 simple words. For Claire only. My hands began to shake. I slowly reached for the box, completely unaware that the truth hidden inside would change the way I remembered my husband. Forever. I stood there, holding the small cedar box in my hands, unable to breathe. For a few seconds, I simply stared at my name written across the lid in Ethan's handwriting. Slowly, I opened it. Inside were neatly organized letters, legal documents, bank records, and dozens of photographs. The first envelope was addressed only to me. I unfolded the letter with trembling hands. My dearest Claire, if you're reading this, then I'm no longer here to explain everything myself. Before you judge what you found today, please know this. I never kept this secret because I didn't trust you. I kept it because innocent lives depended on no one knowing where this place was. Tears filled my eyes. I continued reading. Long before Ethan and I met, his younger sister, Emily, had spent years trapped in an abusive marriage. She tried to escape several times. Every time her husband found her, she never had a safe place to disappear. One cold winter night, she was killed. Ethan blamed himself for the rest of his life. In the letter he wrote, I promised myself that no other woman would ever lose her life simply because she had nowhere safe to go. That single sentence broke my heart. The next folder contained property deeds, confidential agreements, financial records. Everything Samuel had told me was true. More than 12 years earlier, Ethan quietly bought this cabin through a private foundation. No one knew it belonged to him. Not even me. He worked with lawyers, counselors, doctors, local charities, and retired police officers. Together, they created a hidden shelter where women and children escaping violence could disappear safely. No publicity. No payment. No questions. Only protection. Then I opened another letter. Claire, you would have wanted to help. That's exactly why I couldn't tell you. If anyone had ever threatened you for information, you honestly wouldn't have had any to give. That was the safest way to protect everyone. At that moment, every weekend Ethan spent away suddenly made sense. He wasn't escaping from our marriage. He was saving lives. Samuel gently knocked on the office door. There are some people who want to thank you. I walked back into the living room. One by one, the women shared their stories. One mother arrived with nothing except the clothes her children were wearing. Another escaped in the middle of the night after years of abuse. One young woman told me Ethan had driven 6 hours through a snowstorm just to bring her and her daughter safely to the cabin. Another said, if it wasn't for your husband, my son and I wouldn't be alive today. I couldn't stop crying. The toys scattered across the living room. The children's drawings on the refrigerator. The little shoes by the front door. None of them represented betrayal. They represented hope. Every child laughing inside that cabin was alive because my husband had chosen kindness over recognition. Before I left, Samuel handed me one final envelope. Open this last. Inside, Ethan had written only a few lines. Claire, if you ever discover the truth, please don't sell this place. Don't let these doors close. People will always need somewhere safe to begin again. You don't have to become me. Just promise you'll protect what we built. That's all I'll ever ask. I looked around the cabin one last time. For the first time since Ethan died, I smiled through my tears. Because I finally understood. The greatest part of the man I loved was the part the world never saw. 6 months later, the shelter became twice as large. We added more bedrooms, a counseling center, a playroom, and partnerships with organizations that help survivors rebuild their lives. Today, hundreds of women and children have found safety inside that little cabin. Many still send Christmas cards, graduation photos, wedding invitations, and pictures of babies born into peaceful homes. People often ask why Ethan's name isn't displayed anywhere outside. The answer is simple. He never wanted recognition. He only wanted people to survive. Sometimes, the greatest heroes never appear in the news. Sometimes, they simply leave the world a little safer than they found it. And every time I hear children laughing inside that cabin, I know my husband never truly left. His kindness still lives there. Every single day. End of story.